Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs and looking at their roster and determining who I think are the top 5 players on the starting lineup for the Kansas City Chiefs. So before getting into that topic, I want to hear from those of you viewing, especially the Chiefs fans out there, who do you think are the best 5 Kansas City Chiefs on the current roster heading into the next season? Of course, in the draft, things could change as a possible star-studded rookie fell and the Chiefs picked him up in a second round. But as of right now, who do you think is top 5 on that list? And getting into it, I'm going to go over a couple of honorable mentions before getting into number 5, and those start with Orlando Brown Jr. We know the trade just happened, and arguably you could say he already fits in this list. He's a Pro Bowl left tackle. He's pretty young. He's only 25, and he's going to go to a great system. Not that he wasn't with a successful franchise with the Baltimore Ravens, but Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl winners, coming off a Super Bowl loss and appearance still. They're arguably the best organization and best franchise in football right now. He's only going to get better with that amazing coaching staff they got there, and offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. But just because he's new and I haven't seen him play a single snap with the Chiefs, I'm going to keep him as an honorable mention. Next one, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Great rookie running back in the 2020 NFL draft class. Arguably the best rookie running back out of his draft class. There's some tough names out there he'd have to top. Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, James Robinson, Antonio Gibson. There's some tough dudes out there. But given the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was still able to shine in an offense that is extremely quarterback-centric, when you got Patrick Mahomes on the team, it's hard to get any type of spotlight or any type of action in the run game. Not to say he doesn't have talent, but you know the bread and butter of that offense is through Mahomes and through the air. So the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire still stood out is a good, notable aspect in itself, but he's falling short of the list for me. And then the last honorable mention is going to go with Frank Clark. Him and my number 5, who I'm revealing to be Chris Jones, were a really close debate of who I think makes the final cut, but I'm going with Chris Jones over Frank Clark just because we've seen him produce a little bit more in these past 2 years. Frank Clark has only been with the Chiefs the past 2 years. He was traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Chiefs for a first-round pick and third-round pick and others outside of that. But in these past 2 years that he's been on the Chiefs, Chris Jones has had more sacks than him and had more QB hits than him in the past 2 years. So I just have to give the edge over Chris Jones. Chris Jones has a higher single-sack season over Frank Clark, and it's not a knock on Frank Clark at all. I'm not trying to make him seem like a bad player, but I just prefer Chris Jones over him. He's younger than him, and I just like Chris Jones over Frank Clark. It's a preference thing, but you can't go wrong either way for who you got at number 5. But going on to number 4 for me, since Chris Jones was the obvious number 5, is going to be the leader of the defense in a sense, if not at least the leader of the secondary. Pro Bowl safety, all-pro safety at some point, Tyrann Matthew, one of the best safeties in the NFL. I'm not sure he's the number 1 guy when there's a healthy Derwin James, or if you're going to take him over Jamal Adams or Minkah Fitzpatrick, but the dude is a hell of a leader and has hell of a talent, and I do like him leading this Kansas City Chiefs secondary, possibly the entire defense. If I had to pick, I think Tyrann Matthew could be called the captain of the defense. I'm not sure who the Chiefs label the captain off the top of my head, but if it's him, I would not be surprised. Like I said, he's kind of the bread and butter of this secondary, and there's no debate behind it. Like I said, he's a top 5 safety in the NFL, arguably. I think he definitely is. Like I said, I'm not going to take him over a healthy Derwin James or Minkah Fitzpatrick or a Jamal Adams, but the dude is up there in talent, and he easily deserves number 4 on this list. He's arguably the best defensive player on that team. Either him, Chris Jones, or Frank Clark. It's so close, but between the defensive ends and the safety and Tyrann Matthew, you're comparing apples to oranges. It's kind of a hard comparison, but I do think he earns the title the best defensive player on that team. Number 3, and these next 3 probably aren't going to be a surprise if you're a Chiefs fan or even an NFL fan. It's going to go through that triple threat trio on offense. Starting with number 3, though, is going to go to Tyreek Hill. You might say, and that will set up Travis Kelce to be number 2. And this is probably a big debate of who's 2, who's 3, Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill. But the way I look at it in determining who's number 2 and who's number 3 is looking outside of just this team. Look at Tyreek Hill. He is a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and you could make the case that he's top 5. The argument could be made, but at the very worst, he is top 10 in the NFL, in my opinion. He's the fastest dude in the NFL, fastest receiver. He's got great hands, great speed. This is the one guy Patrick Mahomes can't throw over his head and out-throw him, Tyreek Hill. And like I said, he's top 10. But when you look at Travis Kelce, number 2 on my list, he is number 1 in the NFL, and you could make the argument he's number 2 or number 3. Say you in Fairyland want to go George Kittle, Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, whatever. That's a critic's type of take. I'm going to be realistic and say Travis Kelce is number 1, but at worst, he's top 3 in the NFL. There's no way Travis Kelce is not in your top 3 tight ends. To me, he should be number 1 easily, but I will take the bold case of him being top 3, and like I said, it's the opposite for Tyreek Hill. He is top 10. You can make the case that he's top 5, but just because of those guys being at such different standards of their position, Travis Kelce fighting for the number 1 spot and Tyreek Hill fighting for a top 5 spot, that kind of sums it up for me on who is the best player on this team. It's going to be interesting to see how the years go on. Travis Kelce didn't up there in age. He's 31. Tyreek Hill, he's the fastest dude right now, but will he be the same guy at 5'10" when he's not the fastest dude in the NFL? And this isn't a problem the Chiefs have to worry about anytime soon because Kelce's not slowing down yet. Just had the most yards for any tight end in the NFL, and Tyreek Hill, no one's catching his speed by any means, but long term, I'm saying next 5 to 10 years, what's Tyreek Hill going to do when he's not being able to run a 4.3 anymore? But like I said, he easily fits number 3, and I got Travis Kelce at number 2. Just sum it up again. Looking around the NFL, he just broke the record for receiving yards by a tight end. He almost led the league in total receiving yards amongst receivers. Chiefs kind of set back a single game. They sat out in Week 17. The rest of starters, maybe they could have, possibly had Kelsey lead then. I'm not sure, but either way, he's made the case that he's number 1 last year with George Kittle out, and Darren Waller I like, but with Derek Carr throwing to him versus Patrick Mahomes throwing to him, Kelsey does look better than Waller. Not to take anything away from Darren Waller, he might be the most athletic tight end for sure, but I got Kelsey being the number 1 tight end in the league, and with that comes being a damn good player on your team, and possibly, if it weren't for Mahomes, he could be number 1 player on this team. Excuse me, guys, I'm a little sick. But getting at number 1, if it's not obvious, Patrick Mahomes, same type of math, same type of equation goes for him that it did for Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Look at where he stands. Stands for the rest of the league. Patrick Mahomes is number 1 in his position. Travis Kelce, number 1 in his position. It's easy to say. These guys deserve this list. Mahomes, quarterback, is going to go over a tight end in position outside of quarterback, so he easily deserves this. Youngest guy to win a Super Bowl MVP. He has an MVP. He's a special caliber player, thrown for 50 touchdowns before, hitting 5,000 yards. I wouldn't be surprised with the new 17 games in the upcoming season if he doesn't break the all-time passing yards in a season. Not saying he will, but who knows. Like I said, guys, comment down below what you think of my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I don't want to hear your list as well. But to reiterate, my honorable mentions are Frank Clark, Clyde Helaire, Orlando Brown Jr., number 5 is Chris Jones, number 4, Tyrann Matthew, number 3, Tyreek Hill, number 2, Travis Kelce, and of course, number 1, Patrick Mahomes, the kid that is fighting for the GOAT case himself. It's still early on, but he's shown a lot early on already. So let me know what you guys think. Like I said, guys, comment down below. And of course, I also want to hear from you Chiefs fans. Who do you want to see the Chiefs take in the NFL draft? Now that they don't have a first-round pick because of Orlando Brown Jr., who do you want to see them target in the second round? Thanks for watching, guys. We truly appreciate it. I know I say it every video, but I'm serious. It does mean a lot. 2MinuteWarning.